Existence, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
It's my pleasure. So, I've noticed in society, we're humans, we're creatures of habit. We, but we don't always do what we want to do, and we have made it a point in society to basically do the same thing over every single day after day after day. Do you think
Mm.
humans are made to do the same thing every day?
Um, it depends. If we talk about discipline, like getting up every day and working out and doing what you got to do, then you got to do that for yourself. But certain things, like I said on my TikTok page, like school and work, we've been doing that for years. After we constantly do that, like I constantly go to school, summer break, go to school, summer break. After a while, we not exploring, we not evolving, we not creating, because everything around us is creation. This phone is creation, this computer is creation, everything is creation. So if we not creating and we not exploring this world, because this world is huge, and we stay in the same spot, after a while we gonna get depressed and we not gonna want to live no more, So that's what a point it gets to. That's what a lot of people are depressed, because we keep doing the same things over and over and over. It's like insanity. So yeah, I don't think we're supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to personally. A lot
Right,
of
I
people,
hear. Yeah, go ahead.
now you can go, you can go.
Well, yeah, what I was gonna say is, it's like we're creatures of habit and we can do things that we enjoy doing like over and over again, but the point is that most of us aren't doing things that we want to do every day. We're working jobs that we hate. We're coming home and just watching TV after we're tired and feel like we can't do anything else, and it's just the cycle repeated and repeated. And yeah, I mean, people get depressed from that because it's like if you're not doing anything you enjoy, it's like you start to question like why am I even living?
Yeah, that's a good point you made. It's about like we constantly do the same things that we don't want to do over and over. Like we don't want to go to school, and school drains my energy personally. Every day I go, it drains my energy. Work drains adults' energies. Like we constantly do things we don't want to do, and us as peoples, we've been programmed, and we don't follow our goals in a way. We don't actually do what we want to do because we think it's just life. We think it's just life to just do the same things over that we don't want to do. So it's a program mindset in that too. So people gonna stay depressed if they constantly do these things. So yeah,
Oh, you just cut out for like 15 seconds.
really.
Yeah, this shit's crazy. But can you say what you said again?
I said like that's a good point you made when you was like we do the same things over and over, things we don't want to do. That's a good point because we go to school and we go to work, and these are things we don't want to do. But we just consider it life. It's like a program mindset in a way. We've been told, oh, it's just life. Adults, you got to go to work. Kids, you got to go to school. You got to get a job, go to college, and do all these things. We don't follow our goals. We don't follow our dreams, and we don't follow our dreams because we've been told not to. We've been told it's just life. So
Yeah, and
it's
right, and I think it's funny because as a child, we're so much told, oh, when you grow up, you can do anything you want, right? But then you get to a certain point, and then they start to tell you, oh, now you have to be realistic.
hmm
So
yeah.
they're planting these ideas in your head that you can do this, but then they're like, no, we actually lied about that.
Yeah, as a kid, they tell us to. As a kid, I was told you could do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. But then, as you get older, they switch that. Then now you confused. I thought I can do whatever I want. Now I gotta get a job, and now I got to slave and stuff. Like, which one is it? So that's a good point. That is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember, I graduated high school last year, and my just ever since I was in like middle school, I knew there was something wrong with the school system. At that point, I didn't know what, but I knew I didn't belong there, and I was sitting there day after day for seven hours, and I'm like, why am I sitting here? I'm not learning anything useful. All this shit is gonna be thrown out my head the second I finish this test, and I'm not learning any real life skills. So then you get to 18, 19 years old, and you graduate high school, and most people are just like, well, what the fuck do I do with my life now? Like, I guess I'm supposed to go to college, so I guess I'll
Yeah.
do that. But do I really want to go to college? Do I have any idea what I want to do? Because school also doesn't even tell you all the different jobs and opportunities that are out there. You're just you're babied your entire life from till 18, and then you're expected to know everything that you want to do, and it just makes zero sense.
Yeah, this the thing with school too. This the thing I want people to know and people don't realize. A grade does not determine your intelligence. Some people think because they got bad grades that they stupid or they slow. That's what people tell them. Or we think that because he got all A's that he is smart. That does not determine your intelligence. A test does not determine your intelligence. A test determines whether you remember what they told you. It's all about remembering. We don't even learn in school no more. We don't learn. I go there every day. We do not learn anything in school. We just go there. They give us work. We really going to school for a grade. We're not going to school to receive actual knowledge, you know? So it's like it don't determine anything. So it don't even mean nothing. I don't even know what school for at this point. It's supposed to be for education, but we don't learn anything. So I don't even know.
Right. I think, like when you're really young, they're teaching you these basic math, these basic writing skills, this basic knowledge. Like that's some useful stuff. That'll get you working in society and functioning. But I mean, I would argue even like once you reach middle school, it's just bullshit.
Yeah. It's like once you get to a certain point with math, like all this, like I had a test yesterday. It had said A over B. It was just not. It was just letters. It wasn't even numbers. Like what are it's not even math reading. What are numbers that like yeah. It's pointless. It's pointless. And
Right.
when we middle school, we start learning this advanced math, and then we keep repeating the same things we learn over and over, and we go with doing the same things again, and it's just pointless. So if
And
you go ahead,
what's even crazier about that is like your point as like we're learning the same things over again. Like you take history class, and almost every year, like you're learning basically the same thing. But I can tell you right now, even though I learned the same thing over and over again for 18 years, I don't remember any of it because my mind doesn't deem any of it valuable. So why would I keep it in the back of my mind?
yeah, like we get out of school and you just forget. Like your mind not gonna remember things that is pointless to us, you know. Like I don't even remember the last thing I learned in school. I haven't learned anything, literally. But and nothing we can do. We just got to deal with it at this point. Just got
Right.
to be
And
patient.
it's like that saying, like, oh, when you came home from school, you walked in, your mom's like, oh, what'd you learn in school today, honey? And you're like, nothing. It's like that's not a fucking lie. Like that's the truth. Like I learned absolutely nothing. I sat here for 7 days, not 7 days, 7 hours for 5 days a week, over and over again. I haven't learned anything. What? And it's just for people who think about life a little bit deeper and like try to figure out their purpose at a younger age and stuff like that, you really start to question like what is the purpose of this? Like why am I living? What am I doing for myself and the world? And when you're in school and learning, it's nothing.
Yeah, and another thing I had to learn with school, if you really want to get through school, because a lot of people hate school. Like I realized that a lot of people are actually like they hate school. So if you want to really get through school, you got to have a lot of patience. Through your day, you got to have a lot of patience. And I've been learning patience. And the thing with patience is like when you in that school building, right? You looking at the clock, you waiting for it to go down, you waiting for your school day to over. But you know you will be at home. You will be at home. You will be relaxed. So with that thought in mind, just always keep in mind that you will be at home. It will be there. So there's no need to be impatient. So we gotta learn patience because in life it's gonna be so many things that we're gonna have to be patient with. You got to like a lot of kids should learn patience at a young age. That's what I had to learn. Just gotta be patient. You know, it's gonna be over. You know it's gonna be over. You know you're gonna be out of that predicament. So you might as well just be patient. You know.
Yeah, I agree. And you can also look at it as like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna be out of it eventually, in time in my life and at the end of this day. And when I'm out of it, I then can use my time to do things I enjoy doing, to try and find things that are purposeful for me.
But it's kind of hard to do that because once you get home, you are literally tired. Every day I get home,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep. I'm drained. I'm eating bad. Like you just tired after you get from school. School drains you, and then they give you homework. You got to go home and do work after you just been in school for like 8 hours straight, sitting down. They make you do homework too. Then you got to test the next day. Then there's a lot of anxiety. I feel anxiety deeply. You got a lot of anxiety, and then a lot of stuff just builds up. School is just unhealthy. But at the end of the day, it's yin yang. It's balance to everything. So it's good in school too. School can get you better at your social skills because there's so many people in there. So it's good and bad, but it's a lot of bad in school. It's good too, but you got to balance out the both, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's as much as I dislike the school system, it's like when I was in it, it's like you just have to deal with it for the time being and realize that you're going to be out of it eventually and you can then use your time better. But yeah, I mean, I remember, getting out of school at 3 o'clock and like you just said, feeling drained. It's like I want to do things I enjoy doing and I want to work on this, but it's like I'm drained.
Yeah.
And so I've heard you talk a lot on your page about being yourself. And, it's just, I find, and, I used to have an issue with this back in the day, probably a few years ago, where I would try and say certain things and do certain things to fit in and do and say things that weren't authentic to what I actually believed, what I actually was. And I'm sure you completely agree. It's the most important thing in life is to be authentic, to be yourself, to say what you truly believe. Because if you don't, then nobody ever knows the real you.
Yeah, like the reason I say be yourself a lot is because like a few years ago, I used to have a certain image, like a tough image, a gangster image in a way. And that wasn't me at all. But I did it to fit in. I did it to satisfy my ego because your ego always, every human ego always feels better if it's more powerful than somebody else. Always. So having this tough persona makes it so I'm more powerful than somebody else. But that wasn't even me. That's not who I truly was. And society tells us to be a certain way. Going back to the 9 to 5 stuff and doing this, you gotta do that. Society tells us to be a certain way. And I'm trying to tell people that you can be unique. Uniqueness is beautiful. Everybody got unique energy. Everybody got their own DNA. Our fingerprint is unique to us. Everything about us is unique. We are us. You are yourself. So I want to tell people to be unique and just do you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to follow what others do because if you want to do something, ask yourself, do I really want to do it? Or is society telling me to do it? Or is my parents telling me to do it? Or is my friend telling me to do it? Or is it what I truly want to do? So I'm trying to tell people, do what you want to do. Follow your dreams, even if it's silly, even if you got a dream of being a president, still follow it. People gonna laugh at you, people gonna make fun of your dreams, but at the end of the day, their opinion is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is how you feel about yourself. So that's why I tell people to do that. That's why I talk about being yourself a lot on my page.
And people are just you're going to be a more likable person when you're unique and when you're actual self. Because if you look at the majority, like you might look at a lot of people and be like, oh, like I'm kind of meeting a bunch of people, but they seem like they're the same person, and you have like that thought, right? But when you meet someone that has different beliefs or lives their life differently, you're like, oh, this guy, this girl is kind of interesting, and I like them more than those other people that all seem like they're the same.
Yeah, cause I can tell. Like when somebody faking at school, or you can see somebody like that's not you, bro. You trying to act like this not you. You can tell and make you not like them that much because they not being unique to themselves. We all like uniqueness. As humans, as spiritual beings, we can sense energy. So it's like you can tell with somebody being fake, or you can tell with somebody being real. So people are gonna like you more if you being yourself. And at the end of the day, people try to be like others to fit in for people to like them. So if you being yourself, a lot of people might not like you too, because they don't like, say you too silly or something, or you being a certain way, people don't like your character traits. You know what I'm saying? Some people not gonna like you, but some people is. So it's a balance, it's a mixture.
Exactly, the yin and yang. But also, it's like even though people are gonna like you and people also aren't gonna like you, it's they're liking you authentically and they're disliking you authentically. It's not you're putting on this mask and trying to be someone you're not, and people
Yeah,
think they like you and people think they dislike you, but that's actually not true because you're not being who you actually are.
yeah, true. That is true. Yeah,
And everyone always talks about like putting on a mask in public, like, oh, I have to act a certain way around this person and this setting, and it has to be different. And I just like I can understand to a degree if like okay, when you're with your friends, as opposed to being in a business setting, like there's a different demeanor to that. But I don't think you should feel like you have to fundamentally change who you are and your personality for that.
you shouldn't fundamentally change who you are at your core. And I was saying this earlier. Everyone wears a mask. I mean, everyone has an ego. We need an ego to be human. That's just a human thing. But it depends on awareness. Awareness is everything. If you are aware of this mask and you can control the mask, you can control how much you use the mask, like then it's a good thing because everybody gonna wear a mask. Nobody truly shows their self 100%. We always got an ego to it, and that's everybody. That's just life. So the awareness that the mask is there is very important. If you're aware that the mask is there, then there's nothing wrong with the mask. Just don't abuse the mask and don't be careless about it.
Yeah. Speaking of awareness, I think that is one of the most important things ever because like
Yeah.
your life is awareness. What you give your attention to, what you are aware of, like that is your life. That is all that is real to you. And I find so many times that like so many of us like we aren't aware of what we're doing, what we're saying, what's healthy for us, what's not. And sometimes we are aware and we just either want to fit in or we just don't have the energy to change at that time. But overall, I mean, just
Yeah.
give me your perspective on that.
Awareness. I think awareness is very important. And when we talk about spirituality, right? You know what that is?
Yes, of course.
They say it's like a trend now. That's why I don't consider myself spiritual. I don't consider myself a part of the spiritual community because it became like a trend of you got to do this, you got to do that, reptilians, government, Illuminati, all these things. Being spiritual is just being aware of yourself, being aware of your life, being aware of the life around you, being aware of what life truly is, what life is at its core. So that's all spirituality is. It's just becoming aware of all the dark energy you have, shadow work, becoming aware of the demons inside of you, all the bad energy that you have because everyone has bad energy. Everyone has negative thoughts, disgusting thoughts. Everyone. It's just human nature, intrusive thoughts. So it's just being aware of yourself. Who is the voice in my head? Who is just talking right now? Just be aware of that. That's why meditation is very important. Meditation enhances your awareness and really makes you aware of yourself and everything around you, and how you truly feel. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first got into, quote unquote spirituality. It was probably like, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago at this point, and one of my close friends got into it around the same time as me, and we talk about all these different concepts and the universe and all this stuff. And I remember we were walking one day, and he made it a point to me, and he's like, and we were talking about it, and like, you know, on TikTok now, it's like spirituality is becoming a trend. It's like, oh, do this to manifest your ex back, this, that, and I was like it's like I don't even wanna, I don't want to associate myself with that because I feel like when I talk to people and say I'm spiritual, people are automatically gonna think shit like that.
They gonna get a yeah. That's what I said. The exact same thing. I said I don't want to tell somebody I'm spiritual because automatically they gonna get a certain perception of me in their head from TikTok and stuff. And the thing about spirituality is, it be people on TikTok. They be like, do this to keep them obsessed with you. Do this to attract your ex back. That's unhealthy. If you do that, karma, everything goes back around. The law of equivalent exchange. What you give to the universe is what the universe gonna give to you. So if you giving out this bad energy to the universe, karma gonna get you. It's gonna come back around. You can't use spirituality for negative intent, attracting your toxic ex back or putting a love spell on somebody. That's evil. That's bad. I don't want
Yeah,
people to have perception on me. I don't want to say I'm spiritual. They think, oh, he this, he that. It's just all about perspective at this point.
right. And it's that's just what you. It's just the fundamental thing of the universe. Like no matter like what religion or what spiritual concepts you're a part of, it's or believe, like what you put out is what you get back. Now, of course, if you're a overall positive person, that doesn't mean there's never gonna have like negative stuff is never gonna happen to you. That's not what it means because yin and yang, good, evil. It's like it's in hand with each other. You're
Negative
never gonna
stuff.
have a.
Go ahead.
What'd you say?
My bad. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. So, it's just there's never going to be good without evil. There's never going to be good without bad, and it's just understanding that. And but you can choose to live your life in a certain way. You can choose to be a more positive person. You can choose to be a more negative person. And when you do that consciously or unconsciously, you invite that energy into your life.
And don't think because you became spiritual and you super positive and life is good that bad stuff is not gonna happen. I actually love bad stuff because the negative energy and the bad situation that comes to us, it teaches us something. It's all about learning. This is a learning experience. It's all about evolution and creation. So all the bad situations that come to us, you gonna learn something from it. And I want everybody to incorporate this in their mind. Anytime a bad situation come, just always keep in mind, what is this teaching me? This will teach me something. How do you think people become wise in the first place? It's because they went through so many life threatening situations and so many bad situations that they learned so much from it. So I love the negative energy. It constantly teaches you things. So yeah.
I completely agree. I always tell people the same thing. Every single negative thing that happens to you, there's something to learn from it. And the worst thing you can do is to ignore the lessons that it's giving you, because then whatever situation happened, whatever you did wrong, it's going to happen over and over again because you're not aware of it.
hmm Universe gonna constantly give you tests, constantly give you tests. And if you don't learn from these tests, like you said, you're gonna constantly get them over and over and over again. So
Yeah, so I would say, not that I want to call myself spiritual anymore, but getting into all of it, I never really dive deep into the astrology aspect, and I've heard you talk about it on your
I
page,
love astrology.
and what, and this is, and you talked about this, and what has geared me away from diving deep into it and trying to really learn about it is all these people on TikTok, all these girls on the internet saying, "Oh, you're a Leo, like we're not compatible. I don't even want to talk to you. Like you're this, I'm this. Well," and it's like the fact that you're willing to ask someone for their sign the second you meet them and being like, "Oh, I can't you, like I can't even like look at you anymore." It's like that's a turn off to me
Yeah,
diving deep into it.
understand. I don't like them either. Astrology girls, I don't like them either because we gotta realize that astrology is deep. Astrology is a spiritual tool, just like tarot cards, meditation. Astrology is a spiritual tool, and people grab it and they twist it and they make it one minded. We are more than that. We are more than just our sun sign. Our sun sign is the basic sign that we have. I'm a Scorpio. We are three signs. We have three core signs. We got three main signs. We got the sun sign, we got the moon sign, we got the rising sign. And it's a whole birth chart. It's a whole birth chart wheel with 12 houses and planets and aspects. Astrology gets deep. It gets deep and it gets scary accurate. So I want to tell people, before you judge astrology, study it first. Do not listen to the astrology girls. They be like, oh, because you a Sagittarius, we're not compatible. That's inaccurate. That's so inaccurate. That's so inaccurate. So you just gotta study it. They gotta study it. Everybody gotta study it. So that's the thing with astrology. And I hate when I see them. They mess up, like people who are into astrology and astrologers. They mess up the perception of astrologers who are really into astrology. They mess up that perception. They make us look stupid in a way. They make us look dumb.
Yeah, and yeah, that's just going along with just the spiritual aspect of calling yourself spiritual nowadays is just
Yeah.
you're you're related to all the people spreading like the kind of bullshit stuff.
It's like the mainstream grabs spiritual topics and they make it a joke in a way and they give it like
Mm,
perception. So yeah, I'm noticing that now. Like they grab spiritual tools and concepts and they twist it up. Like the concept of manifestation, astrology, all that. Like they just twist it up a lot and they give a certain perspective that's like it's a joke.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, like I don't know where or how it even originated because it's like 3, 4 years ago, like like when TikTok first came out and people were starting to do like deeper videos and stuff, spirituality wasn't even really like talked about. But then all of a sudden, all this stuff just came in.
Yeah, 2020 is when like everything happened, low key. 2020 is when I got
Yeah,
into spirituality. I don't know where TikTok came from. I don't know how this got into TikTok, but it all started from 2020 is what I noticed. It all stemmed from 2020. So that's when it all started. I think because everybody was in the house. TikTok make everything into trends and stuff. So people put their knowledge onto TikTok. And then these people grabbed it and they twisted it up and made it a trend. So I guess that's how it happened.
yeah. So going back to astrology a little bit, for someone like me and for anyone watching who isn't really into it, who doesn't know much about it, what can you kind of give as like an overview of it?
So so astrology is basically the concept of it is that the planets in the sky affects humans down here, right? The energy from the planets affect humans down here. And when we are born, when we come out the womb, we are born with certain energies, just certain energies. And we give a name to it, like Scorpio, Aries. We just give names to it. But the certain month in a day, we just born with certain energies. That's just the overall of you born with certain energy. You born with certain characteristics. And in a way, it gives like energies in certain areas of your life. You got your childhood, your all of this. It gives energies to certain areas of your life. That's how you got to study the birth chart. If people want to study astrology, just look up Astrology 101 videos. That's how I got started, and you can get a lot of knowledge from that. So it's just basically the planets above. They certain energies from the planets above affect us, and we born with a certain sign and certain energies and stuff like that. That's basically like the overview of astrology. You just gotta dive deep into it. You can't judge it.
So does it affect things like your personality?
Mm, I would say yeah,
Like how
but
much?
not like the planets don't affect your personality per se. It's like the certain signs you have. If you study your birth chart, certain signs you have in your birth chart affect the energies of your personality. I want to say it's like your personality. Like I talk this way. Like it's like certain energies and like it's just energy. At the end of the day, it's just energy, in my opinion.
Okay. So energy is that I'm kind of thinking, is it kind of related to like your emotional output of like your personality?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's emotions, it's ego, it's all that.
Okay. That's interesting. So moving on a little bit, I saw a video about you talking a lot about growth and kind of planting the seed. You know
Hmm.
what video I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know that video.
You want to explain that?
Yeah, so going back to the thing that we said earlier about doing the same thing over and over again, it's a difference with this one, right? When we follow our dreams, we often get discouraged. We often lose motivation. But it's all about you just gotta keep pouring the water on the seed you plant. People plant a seed, but then they just let it die. They don't plant water. You just gotta constantly plant water and realize that you making progress. It don't matter if you posting on TikTok or YouTube and you getting one view. That's progress. Every day somebody is watching you. It's gonna continuously go up. You just gotta continuously plant the seed. You gotta continuously water the seed. You gotta keep pouring water on it until it sprouts to a big tree. Because in the end, it's gonna sprout. If you keep putting work in, the universe will reward you. This is going back to the law of equivalent exchange. The universe will reward you. It don't matter how long you do it. You will get rewarded at the end of the day. You got to keep this in your mind. So I'm gonna keep watering the seed. I'm gonna keep watering it until it's a full blown tree. Because at the end of the day, it will be with enough hard work and dedication. It will be a full blown tree. You just gotta keep watering it.
I think that goes a lot along with something like patience, in the
Hmm.
sense of a lot of us like we want to start something new, we want to start going to the gym. And the reason we want to go to the gym is for this specific person is like, I want to build a lot of muscle, right? And you go for a month or a few weeks and you're like, oh, I'm not as big as these guys. And then you get discouraged from, oh, I feel like I haven't made that much progress. I'm just going to give up now.
And that's yeah, that goes to like comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. You ever heard that before?
Yep.
That comparison really ruins you. I compare myself a lot. Like it really ruins you. You can't compare yourself to others. We all got individual journeys. We all got separate journeys. You people go to the gym, they compare themselves to bodybuilders who've been doing it for 10 years. You can't compare
Exactly.
somebody who been doing it for 10 years. You only been doing it for 2 weeks. You gotta just keep going. Do not compare and do not get discouraged with progress. Progress is getting made. If you do the work, it will happen. Something will happen. Something gonna happen. You never heard nobody say, "Oh, I did work for 5 years and I got no progress." That never happened before. If you do work for a long amount of time, you will see progress. You just can't compare yourself to others. At the end of the day, comparison is a thief of joy. If you compare, you will not make no progress. You will just quit and you will just give up because you're not getting the progress you see that others are getting, but they've been doing it for longer. You got to keep going. You got to keep going.
I completely agree with that. I also think, in terms of comparison, there's a certain healthy aspect of it in the sense of you can look at someone, whatever, let's say it's a job that you want and you want to make progress in and rise up through the ranks. You can look at someone higher up than you and at the top, and you can be like, okay, what are they doing now? Let's look at their history. How did they get to where they are now? Maybe I should like emulate that a little bit and kind of.
Yeah, that's like getting advice in a way. It's like seeing what I'm doing wrong and like applying that to my life. That's a good thing, but people just they look at others and be like, look at him. I'm doing something wrong. Then they just give up. They don't even apply what they doing wrong. They don't switch it around. They just give up. So you can't give up. You gotta look at others and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not seeing progress that they are seeing? Look at what you're doing wrong and apply that to your life. Don't get discouraged from it though. Don't just give up because you're not getting the progress that they get, and you just gotta look at what you're doing wrong and okay, I'm gonna apply this to my life. So yeah, that's very true.
And people are also like, we're so quick to judge people who are maybe farther along than us. Like a lot of people will just like see someone who's better than them at a certain thing. Like let's use the gym example again. Someone's just starting out and they see someone a lot bigger than them and they're like, oh, like how did he get that? Blah blah blah, whatever, and they just start talking shit, right? But what you can do instead of looking at them in that negative light, you can literally walk up to that person and be like, hey, I like the way you look. It looks like you made a lot of progress. How'd you get to this point? And they can, I guarantee they will be eager to share that information with you.
Because people got a lot of hatred in their heart, and people get envious. That's called envy. They like, oh wow, this guy think he's the this guy thinks he the man. He think he tough. He all this stuff. When in reality, he's just trying to work out. He a nice guy. But if you went up to him and asked him that, you would know. But it's just all about being envious. People be envious of what others don't, what they don't have. You know, they see somebody with all these muscles at the gym, and they like, wow, look at him. And they just get envious. They get that stems back to insecurity. I realize if you get envious over that and you gain some sort of hatred for this person that you don't even know, you insecure in some way. You know, you think you're not enough in some way. It all stems back to insecurity, and this all stems back to awareness of the self. You have to be aware of these insecurities within yourself. And you have to be aware of all the trauma that you have. So when you are being envious and you are getting jealous and stuff, you can realize, okay, I'm not actually envious of this person. I'm just insecure. You know, I don't think I'm enough. I don't think I'm worthy. You know, so that's all. That's it. All stems back to something. Everything stems back to something. It all stems from something. You know, childhood mostly. That's what it
And
all
and
starts.
and it goes so much along with growth. Like you analyzing and doing introspection on, okay, I'm insecure in this area. You can when because I think a lot of us, when we're insecure about something in the back of our mind, we know it. We don't want to deal with it. We're just like, all right, let's just. I don't want to. Whatever, right? But if you actually sit with yourself and like, why am I insecure about this? Is there something in my life that happened for me to feel this way, and now I feel this way about everyone? What just analyzing it and realizing why it's happening, then gives you the opportunity to try and change it.
But the thing is, people don't even want to do that though. People do not want to do the work. They just want to go home, watch TV, drink all this other stuff, and do nothing at all. They don't want to do the work. And some people like it goes back to awareness and analyzing yourself again. That's why I want people to meditate. You know, I want people to really like go within, meditate, and realize all the energies that's within yourself. Because energy, we this is real. This is real life. We are energy beings. We are energetic beings. You know, there's so many energies inside of us. You know, you can feel it when you meditating. When you're in that deep meditative state, you can feel the energies in your heart. You know, the heart is very important. The heart is a very important part of everything. So when you really feel into your body and feel into your energies, you can really realize what's inside of you. You know, so people really need to meditate. That's really people need to incorporate that into their lives.
Yeah. I haven't been meditating recently, but I when I do, it's just, I mean, even if it's just for like 2 to 5 minutes, like that can change your mood. That can change your state of mind.
Yeah, meditation it's different forms of meditation. Meditation could be you writing, journaling. It could be actually meditating. It could be going for a walk. It could be looking at the trees. It could be being at the beach and looking at the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Meditation comes in different forms. Everybody got unique meditation. Meditation could be praying. You know, when you pray, that's a calm state too. So it's different forms of meditation. Just find the one that suits you best and heal yourself from it and realize and be aware of the energies that's inside you. That's the overall point of it.
Yeah. To just, I mean, we keep saying this, but taking that time to like go inside and like realize all that stuff, it's so important to your growth in life and just your like your you being in like a suitable, stable state of mind. Because like I mean, like if I like when I try to like analyze my insecurities, all this different stuff, if I didn't do that, I'd I I'd be all over the place.
Literally, I feel deeply and I feel bad for people. You know, I'm very empathetic. It's like people go through their whole days, every day, just depressed and lonely and just like helpless in a way because they don't have this knowledge. You know, people need to. That's why I spread knowledge so it can reach out to people so people can actually see and they can receive this knowledge and it can open their mind. You know, You sometimes I get messages like, "Thank you for what you're doing, change my stuff like that," you know. And it's like it feels good because like I got this knowledge out to somebody and it actually impacted them on a deep level and actually helped them, you know. So that's wonderful.
Exactly. And the best thing is when it's someone that like hasn't ever heard of something like this and you come along and say it. But then it's also sad in an aspect of like what why do so many people not know about this stuff? Like this is the type of stuff that should be taught in school.
Cool. Yep. I was just about to say that. That's a good question. Why is none of this knowledge common in school? You know, people be miserable. People go to school miserable, and they have no choice but to go to school. Their parents don't know nothing. Their parents don't know anything. So it's like people be miserable. They go to school and they don't have this knowledge, and we need to question why is this knowledge not known. And then it make you question the government and who run this world. They not making this knowledge known. They gotta know, you know, they the government. They have to know this knowledge. So it's like, why is this knowledge not known? Why is this knowledge not teached? You know? Why don't I know this? Why don't I know I need to meditate? Why don't I know I need to heal my traumas and insecurities? Why don't they teach us about this in school, you know? That should be the real question. They don't teach us nothing spiritual. Teach us nothing about health really, none of that. All these things are very important. It's more important than half of the things we learn in school. We should know these things, you know. They should teach us, like in school, they should teach us about all types of things to help us, self-help, you know. All like I don't know, they should though.
Yeah, I think about the exact same thing. It's like because I think well I've also said so many times like I think if something like meditation, like of course like being when kids are like 5 years old, like they have a lot of energy and stuff, but in like younger ages in school, if you taught kids how to meditate, so many people nowadays would have less anger issues. They'd be
Literally.
less sad. They'd be more calm. They'd be more open to talking to people and not in a bad mood all the time. And it's
And
like,
yeah, it's literally like scientific brain evidence that meditation impacts the brain on a deeper level. Because you know, people need facts and they need, you know, scientific evidence. Some people need that. You can literally look up. It's a simple Google search about meditation, and it can show you like all these things it does to your brain. But a lot of people are stubborn, and I noticed this with somebody I know. A lot of people are stubborn. They want to get. They don't really want help for real. They just ask for it. A lot of people know what they need to do, but they don't do it. Like I can give somebody advice, but it's up to you to really take that advice and actually incorporate it into your life. You know, a lot of people are stubborn. You know, and a lot of people not patient enough with their self to truly heal themselves and to truly meditate and be patient because meditation is a practice. You know, you gotta constantly do it. You gotta constantly get better at it, and that applies for anything. Constantly doing it. How do you think people get better at basketball? They go outside every day and they practice their dribble moves. How do you think people get better at making music? They make a song every day and they study the art. So you gotta constantly study and you gotta constantly do these things in order to get better at it.
yeah. And it's like you look at all these people that are really successful in whatever it is, and you're like, oh, why can't I do that? Well, it's not that you can't do it. It's just that you're not putting in the work. And
Exactly.
we so much of the time nowadays, like we expect everything to come to us, and it's like, oh, I can get $1 million by doing nothing. I can learn this skill without actually putting in the work.
And that goes back to like feminine energy and masculine energy. I talked about this before because masculine energy is like the drive to do things, the leadership. A lot of people ain't nothing wrong with feminine energy. Remember, masculine and feminine energy is energy. It's not a gender. It's just energy. You know, a lot of people are overly feminine. I'm not talking about painting nails. I'm not talking about hair. And I'm talking about like in the aspect of sitting around doing nothing and just expecting things to come to you. That's the feminine energy because feminine energy receives things, you know, and the masculine energy go out and do it. So people need to get in touch with their masculine energy in a way and just go and do it. You got to just take the action and do it. People don't take the action; they just expect things to come to them. In this society, people are spoiled and things do come to us so easily in this society. The government literally gives us everything. Literally. We got fast foods everywhere. We can just tap our phone and get food and they can just come towards us. So we so used to receiving things, it's all the time. The government know what they do, it's all the time. We so used to receiving things that we don't want to actually go out and do things no more. We are so lazy, bro. Society has made us so lazy. We don't do anything no more. Everything just comes to us, you know?
100%. And there's with something like content creation. I remember seeing a video on like you can watch all the self-help videos and read all the self-help books you want and feel like you're doing something. But if you're reading it and you're watching the videos, but you're not actually taking any action, then the knowledge is going to waste. That knowledge is nothing without you applying it.
Yeah, and I believe going to a different like kind of topic when it comes to like creativity, right? We get a creative thought in our mind to do something, but some people get that thought and they don't do anything to it. And I believe thoughts come from something higher than us. I believe we get thoughts and it comes to our head like that. I believe it comes from something higher, and I believe if you don't put that creative thought to action, it's gonna go to somebody else. So you gotta put it to.
Mm,
I believe thoughts bounce out. I believe thoughts bounce out of our heads and bounce into different heads if you don't put it to action. Put it to action, because if you don't put that creative thought to action, it's definitely gonna go to somebody else. Somebody else gonna get it and they're gonna put it to action. So any creative ideas you get, put it to action. Don't waste time.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah. There's been so many times in my life where, you know, I'm laying in bed at night, I'm about to go to bed, but I have this creative thought of like, oh, I should probably do this. But
Hmm.
then, I'm tired, so I just go to bed, and then I wake up in the morning, I live my day, and it's like, well, that's not there anymore at all.
Every day it's not there no more. And you ever wonder where did this thought go? Like we got a question. Okay, I had this thought. I had this like inspiration. Where did it go? It just disappeared. Like it came to me one day and then it just disappeared. Where did it go? It went to somebody else. It went to a different person.
Yeah, because there's, I mean, it literally just applies to everything in life. When you learn stuff but don't take any action, it's because
Hmm.
I think that like there's so many people that I think can do so much better than they are right now. Like just the fact that you're a human being means you have so much potential. If you take off all the conditioning, all the programming, there is so much underneath that you can use to grow and express. But you meet a lot of people and they seem like they're the same person because they're clouded by all this programming. They're not like trying to elevate themselves.
Yeah, it's so many. Like me and my friends, we make a lot of jokes about this Matrix. We make so many jokes. We just be making fun of it. It's so many clones. It's so Like I go to school, it's so many people wearing the same clothes. There's so many people that say the same things every day. Like sometimes I say the same things every day and I get tired of it. Like I just said this yesterday. It's kind of like being robotic. Like I'm doing the same things every day. It go back to that. Doing the same thing every day. Everything goes back to something. And it's like it's so many clones out here. We got people talking the same. Some people walk the same. They say the same things. They act the same. Like how can you just be a clone? It goes back to being ego mass. People not being themselves. So it all goes back to something.
And then, I think about people like that, and I think when you're putting on this mask all day, when you go home and you're by yourself, what are you thinking? Are you like still even by yourself trying to put up that mask, or are you when you're home by yourself, you're like you start to question everything. You're like, why am I like this?
Nah, personally, like when I had like that, I'm still the same. Like you act the same at home too. It's like a whole. It's like you acting like it's a camera when it's
Mm,
really. So you act the same. Like if you got a tough persona when you at home, you got the same persona. Like it never goes away. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't question. It's because they don't got the awareness. They go back to awareness. Everything goes back to something. Like it go back to awareness. If you don't got the awareness, then you gonna have this ego mask on 24/7. It's not even gonna matter where you are.
right. And I mean, something that I've learned is like the importance of being humble with, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, it's not that you can never share knowledge and stuff like that, but there's so many people that are just trying. I mean, the ego thing. You're trying to portray I'm better than you, I know more than you, blah blah blah, this and that. Like when there's certain aspects of, let's say, something like spirituality that I know more about than some other people I talk to, but I'm like eager to share that with them in a sense of not talking down to them, just like sharing that information from them. And then I also acknowledge that there's people who know things that I don't know about. And something that I heard from someone, I don't it was someone famous, I don't remember who it was, but going into every single conversation assuming that the person you're talking to knows something that you don't, because 100% of the time it's going to be true.
Hmm. And this is another thing with spiritual people, right? So a lot of spiritual people develop a thing that's called a spiritual ego. At the end of the day, it's just the ego, and they think they better than somebody. They call themselves gods. Ain't nothing wrong with calling yourself that. You can call yourself that if it fits you, if it suits you. But I look at it as lowering people down. It's like you think you better than somebody, and we gonna go to the other thing where a lot of spiritual people, a lot of black spiritual people, they lower down white people, and they call them like soulless. You ever heard that before? They call
I
them
haven't.
dang, they call them soulless and like all this stuff, right? They basically lower them down, and it's like that's not spiritual. That's just ego, you know. And we got to realize this is just a body. This is a vessel. Everyone has a soul. If you have a body, it's something inside you. You know, you have a soul. You have energy. You have a spirit. Everyone has that, and they forget about that. It's a lot of things where it's like they just lower them down. They call them bots. They call them all this, and it's like it's ego at the end of the day. They not bettering themselves. You're just using your ego. You know, we
Yeah,
gotta that's just dividing us more as a community, as a human race. We just dividing ourselves more with this race stuff, you know. Everything comes in different colors and sizes and shapes, but at the end of the day, we still are humans. Like light bulbs. Light bulbs come in green, yellow, orange, white. They still are light bulbs at the end of the day. Houses come in different shapes, sizes, and material. It's still a house at the end of the day. They all still houses. So we got to realize that we are still human beings. We all bleed. You know, you are not better than no one. I bleed, you bleed, I breathe, you breathe. We are the same. There's nothing different. I don't have superpowers. I can just fly to the sky and go somewhere. I'm not better than you. We both are humans on a human journey, and we are constantly learning different things.
exactly. And sharing, just sharing your knowledge with people, and it's calling calling someone who isn't, because so many people haven't had the opportunity to even learn this type of knowledge. Like they haven't even ever heard it before because so many people have no idea any of it exists. So you kind of talking down on people for not knowing what you know, even though they've never even had an opportunity to learn about it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't get how people talk down. Like everyone was once unaware. Everyone, we all didn't have this knowledge. We born on this earth clueless. You know, we didn't. None of us had this knowledge until we became aware of it. So you can't judge somebody else. And I'm going back to this. We all have an individual journey. Everyone has a journey. Everyone's journey is different. Some people won't become spiritual. Some people will not tap into meditation because their journey is different from ours. You know, it's different. There's no such thing as better or worse. It's just levels, in my opinion. It's not better levels. It's just levels. You know, so no one is better. Everyone's journey is different, and that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah. Have you so when I think about the ego, I kind of sometimes I think what I've thought about is that there's your ego, which is kind of rooted in your personality and you as a human being, but there's also something underneath that. There's your soul, the real you, your being, whatever you want to call it. The real you is really separate from your ego, from your personality.
It's layers. It's layers and it's levels. You know, you got the human body, you got the ego, you got the soul, you got the spirit. And I believe the ego is just I believe the ego is our inner child in a way. I believe it's so unhealed. I believe we need to nurture our ego. You know, we need to nurture our ego because it's so unhealed and it's so insecure. And that's why when we get defensive, like when somebody disagree with us or somebody call us a bad name or something like that, or they disrespect us, we get so defensive and we get so angry. That's because it's unhealed, you know? It's just the ego trying to protect itself from harm. That's all it is at the end of the day. You just gotta be aware of these things, you know? You gotta look at everything outside the box. You gotta look at everything from a different point of view, you know? That's how I look at it. Like, even spiritual topics, look at it different from everybody else, you know? You always gotta be unique and you always gotta look at things from a outside point of view. You gotta look at things outside of yourself, you know? And you gotta try to look at things from others' point of view, you know? How would they feel? How do they feel, you know? So yeah,
Exactly. Before you have your outburst because of something someone said, kind of maybe try to understand what they're saying. And sometimes it might not make sense. Like you could realize that, okay, for example, if they're calling you names or whatever, okay, this is probably just them calling me that because they're insecure about something and they feel the need to level up their ego to make themselves feel better than you. And then in that sense, you then why do you have to feel offended?
exactly. Or it's them, or they had a bad day. That's why they calling me these names. Maybe they had a bad day. They probably did have a bad day. You know, we just got to look at things from a different perspective. You know, and you are the bigger person, and you are being very humble if you can just let somebody disrespect you and let somebody call you names and still be patient and still have love for them. You know, And that's the same thing going back to the Jesus story, right? I'm not religious, but you can always use like references and stuff. Going back to the Jesus story, people beat him, they tie him up, all that, and he still had love for him. You know what type of person you got to be to do that? And I also saw this video where it was this man, he was in court, right? And it was this dude who killed his son, and he forgave him and gave him a hug. You know the amount of love you got to have in your heart to do that? I want to get to that point, you know? That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Having all that love in your heart, that's very beautiful. I believe that that's how we all should be, you know? We all should have this love and this forgiveness in our heart. We got to open our heart chakra, you know?
And I think every single one of us has that within ourselves. It's just we put so much stuff and so much hate over that to blind ourselves from what we can be and how positive and loving we
Yeah,
have the chance to.
yeah, we got everything within us. Like no one is better than nobody. Everything is within you, you know? We have everything within us, you know? We have literally everything. All the knowledge that I'm giving you, all the knowledge that you give people, anybody can understand this knowledge. Anybody could have this knowledge, bruh. We just gotta tap into it. Because we all are connected, you know? Everything is connected. We all come from a source. It's a conscious thought. It's a collective thought, you know? We all are connected in some way. We are not better than no one. No one. There's nothing outside of the source. Nothing. Everything is the source, and everything is nothing. So it's like we all have it. You just gotta connect with it. You just gotta tap into it. You know.
Right. So it's just it goes to like viewing and realizing that you are beyond your ego. You are beyond your mind and
Yeah.
the conditioning and programming. There's something else.
Yeah, and I had said that before. I said the exact thing. Actually, I was like, if you feeling a bad emotion, realize you are beyond this emotion. You know, this emotion is lower than you. You are beyond it. You are light. You are something higher. You know, something divine. You gotta realize that we are divine beings. We're not just these humans. We lower ourselves down. We just call us humans. We're not just these humans. We are divine beings. You know, we are something higher. So we gotta realize that I'm way higher than these low emotions that I'm feeling. Whether it's jealousy, whether it's hatred, whether it's being envious. I am way higher these low emotions. So you just gotta realize that, and it can help you a lot. I started incorporating this into my mind and be like, okay, I'm way higher than this emotion, you know. And I'm not this emotion either. I'm separate from this emotion. It's this emotion is just a reaction, you know.
And whether you're conscious of it or not, like we truly do have control over our emotions. Like if we're really anxious or we're really angry, like if you choose to be aware and step back for a second, you can change that. And also, if you're in a really good mood, you can choose to change that consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah, it's like it's alchemy. It's like transmutation. The law that's in like one of the 12 laws of the universe is transmutation. You know, you could be having a horrible day, and you go outside in the sun, and then poof, out of nowhere you just feel good. That's instant transmutation. You know, going outside and looking at the sun and feeling the breeze instantly change your mood. So when we having these bad emotions and having a bad day, do something that you know that's gonna transmute it to good emotions. You know, it's all about transmutation. You know.
And whether we know it or not, like there's always something you can do. And
Hmm.
then for everyone it's different. Like for someone like me, it could be going outside and going for a walk. For someone else, it could be reading a book. There's always something you can do to make yourself to make yourself feel better or feel worse.
Literally, always something. You know, literally is always something. That's a good point. It's literally always something. That's a good point. I never thought about that. It's literally always something you can do. Literally, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
yeah. I don't know if it was a quote by Marcus Aurelius or someone else, but it was like it was talking about a man, but it's not limited to a man. It's a man, woman, anyone. No, but the quote went something like, "No matter what situation you're in, if you're a man, they can take everything away from you except your awareness and
Hmm.
to your choice in how you feel and your perspective on the situation, no matter how horrible it is. You could be in the depths, people kicking you, you're just being tortured physically and mentally, but you can still choose to look at it in a different light to escape from that feeling and go beyond."
Yeah, that's very true. Like the government or whoever, people could take away your pride. They could take away your sanity. They could take away this physical body. You can die, but you always gonna have your awareness. The awareness never goes away. Your soul never dies. Energy never dies. It just get transmuted. It just get transformed. Energy never ever dies. We have to always remember this. So people can take away your physical body. They can take away your money. They can take away your home, but they cannot take away your energy. They cannot take away your awareness. And the only thing that matters, and people get attached to this physical reality, and we get attached to physical objects and all these things. But we got to realize that the only thing that matters is love. The only thing that matters is energy and awareness. These physical things will not be here. These these will not be here when I'm gone. The only thing that will be here is me, my soul, my energy, and my awareness and my consciousness. This is the only thing that will be here. People need to tap into their energies. People need to tap into their energies. People love cars, people love jewelry and houses and stuff like that, and they think these things will fulfill them. In reality, it's not. The only thing that will fulfill you is going within and healing yourself. Nothing physical will fulfill you. Nothing physical will fulfill you. It only will delay the inevitable.
Yeah, the famous actor Jim Carrey, he's said multiple times, I wish everybody can have the level of fame and money that I have to realize that it is not the meaning of life.
I mean, nothing. And sometimes I even get like obsessed with views and like getting the right amount of views and like subscribers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. At the end of the day, these things will not fulfill me or will not make me happy because what's gonna happen when you have all the riches and the fame and success and you in your room by yourself and all them bad emotions and the depression and the trauma, all of that come back. What's gonna happen then? What will happen? None of that money will go away. All that will go away because you got all these bad emotions within you. None of that will matter at all.
Exactly. No matter how much money you have in the world, the traumas that you have in your mind, the things from your childhood, all
Hmm.
of that it's still there.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about. I remember seeing a video of you talking about things about like depression and anxiety and how we kind of, especially on TikTok and stuff, we make it normalize and kind of make it so that it's okay that you're depressed. You don't need like your feelings are validated and you don't need to make yourself better. You don't need to try and get out of that anxiety and depression. You can just sit there. It's okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of videos on the internet, even when I was in a bad mental state and depressed. It's a lot of videos on there like sad audios. You scroll, you see these sad audios, and you look in the comments, you see all these people depressed and stuff. It kind of puts you in a state of comfort. That's when you get to that point, you start to find comfort in your depression. You start to find comfort in this anxiety and this bad energy, and it kind of becomes kind of like cool in a way. And they make it so trendy because you see people in the comment sections. All these people, they make it normal. Everybody is depressed nowadays. It seems like you can go to a sad video. You see everybody in the comment section. They talk about how they depressed, how they gonna end it soon, and all this. And it's kind of like being a part of a community because we all want to be a part of something. We get so lonely to the point where we don't care about being a part of the sad community. We don't care about being a part of that sad audio community. As long as we are part of something, it's all about being a part of something. Being in that comment section. Now, this is what I believe. This is why people love seeing these sad videos and like it a lot. When you in them comment sections and you seeing all these people comment and you can see that they are depressed just like you, it's like they understand you. It's like you can relate to them in a way. And that's why people find comfort in that because it's like, okay, there's somebody who understands me. Look at all these people. They understand my depression. They understand my anxiety. And when we find somebody who understands us and we find a group who understands us, we're going to want to be a part of it. And we're not going to want to change it because they understand it. So ain't no point in changing. It feel good in a way. It's like finding comfort in that.
Yeah. And then another thing I think about is, of course, there's a lot of people nowadays who claim, oh, I'm severely depressed and anxious when they're really not. But at the same time, when I look in those comments and see all those people, I scroll and I look and I'm like, this is how many people that are dealing with this. Like this, why why are so many people depressed all the time? Why are so many people anxious all the time? Why?
Exactly. That's the question I asked. It's like, why? Why are all these people depressed? And I was going to say, um, I'm about to say, when you scrolling through these comments, right? Damn, I was about to say something. I hate when thoughts slip my mind.
Yeah, yep.
Say something. I think it'd come back. I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like from so like I used to like I was diagnosed with depression a few years ago, and like at that point, like I was really in it. It was
I know
everything in life was good.
people make it trendy. I was gonna say people make it trendy, right? I was gonna go back to gender, right? People being like bisexual and things like that. It's a lot of people that have bisexual phases. How can you have a bisexual phase? How can you change your sexuality? Exactly. That's literally impossible. If you are gay and bisexual, you are gay and bisexual. There is no such thing as a phase, you know? So we make these things trendy, just like depression, just like anxiety, just like being bisexual and stuff like that. It's a trend at the end of the day. We all make it so trendy. That's why I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm gay now." What? How? How? People are gay from like birth. People are gay
Hmm.
from you can't just become gay out of nowhere. That's literally impossible. You got to be gay from a young age. You can't just become gay and then become straight again. That's literally impossible.
Right.
Literally, bro. Literally.
Like you can go throughout your childhood like questioning whether you're gay or not, but I don't know if you can really just flat out be straight for 20 years of your life, and then on your 21st birthday you're like, all right, no, I'm gay now.
Oh yeah, I like him now. Like you can't. Literally impossible. You literally can't do that. That's why trends, bro. It all goes back to being clones. You know, you can keep talking about people being clones and stuff, just doing the same thing over every day and doing what people do. You know, it's just a trend. At the end of the day, you got to be aware that you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? You know, always ask yourself this question: why am I doing this? You know, where does this stem from? Do it stem from me, or do it stem from TikTok or YouTube or following this trend or my favorite rapper or something like that? You know, realize where these things are coming from.
Yeah. And going back a little bit to the bisexual thing, shout out to Chris Williamson and his podcast. He had a doctor on there, and the doctor was actually talking about birth control and
Hmm.
how women who are on, hopefully I'm getting this right, women who are on birth control for a long time are more likely to actually become bisexual. So if that's true, whatever's in there, whatever the hormone changes are that's going on within your body, it's like something like that, and that pill can change your sexuality. If that can do that, all these other drugs that the government is giving us and all that stuff, what effects do those things have that we aren't aware of?
What's in these drugs that they're giving them? That's a good point. That's why when I get older, when I get money and stuff, and I can provide for myself, I will never take medicine. I actually hated medicine my whole life, bro. Because this is what they do, right? They feed us these foods like McDonald's, like Wendy's and Subway and all these bad foods, and we got junk food everywhere. They feed us these foods. It gets us sick. We go to the doctor and then we gotta pay for it. What's gonna happen if we can't pay for it? What they gonna? They just not gonna treat us. What if we got cancer or something? We can't pay for it. They just not gonna treat us. Like, what's gonna happen then? You know, we gotta ask this question. It's crazy that we gotta pay for health. We gotta pay to get healed, bruh. In reality, we can heal ourselves, but we don't have that knowledge.
Right. I,
And
I've
my bad for interrupting you. When you go to the store and you see all these junk foods, right? You see all these colorful junk food as a kid, pink Starburst and red Skittle packages and all these colors, bro. It attracts you. What would you get if you see a candy in a pink package or you see something healthy in a black package? A kid, because this thing called color psychology, color really affects us. They use color and marketing and stuff like that, right? So a kid gonna choose the pink package over the black package because pink is more alluring. That's why kids watch all these TV shows with colors. They see that they gonna want the pink package, you know. So they use color psychology to attract us too. They are very smart. You got to be aware of these things, you know. You don't want to fall under the trap.
and then another thing is, when does us as common people, how often does the regular person see a new product, a new item, a new food on the shelf, and like, oh, this looks interesting. How often do they turn it around and read the ingredients? Is this healthy?
Exactly. And it's so many ingredients on there, like all these big old names and stuff that we have no clue what it is. No clue. And I don't like looking stuff up because Google, I don't know what Google be saying sometimes. It be lying to you. It just be saying random stuff. You got Wikipedia. You got people typing stuff on there. So it's kind of hard to really know what you put into your body. And the smart things to do is just plant your own stuff. You know, plant your own stuff. That's really smart because you plant your own stuff. You know what's in it. it's not tampered with or none of that. So I feel like we should learn how to plant foods, and I feel like that should be the future. Just a whole bunch of people planting their own foods, so they can know that it's authentic and they can know that it's healthy. And another thing, what's gonna happen if people just stop doing what the Matrix wants them to do? What's gonna happen if people stop working? What's gonna happen if people just stop buying all these things? What can they actually do? We think we need them. They need us. They need us to continue to buy these things. They need us to continue to damage ourselves. What's gonna happen when we stop? What will they do? Like they literally can't do nothing. Literally, like
Exactly.
they do. It's nothing they can do.
And with all, even with like fruits and vegetables that are healthy, when you go to the grocery store and stuff, you have no idea how much chemicals and stuff they sprayed on it and all that shit. Like, you have no idea. So you're eating healthy food, but it's not actually that healthy because it has all this shit in it.
Yeah, one time, right? I gotta tell you a story that correlates to this. One time, my brother took shrooms, right? Shrooms
Hmm.
is a spiritual drug. It opens you up a lot. He said nature was telling him that they use nature and they turn it to something synthetic. So what they do is they grab everything natural and they make it man-made to destroy us. Like everything that's made is from something natural. All pills, all medicines, everything is made from the earth because the earth is here. We need the natural earth. So they take the natural ingredients and they tamper with it. They tamper with it and they make it unhealthy to destroy us. So they take everything natural and they tamper with it. Same thing with vapes. We got all these vapes, watermelon flavor. Watermelon flavor, what? This is a chemical. This is meant to destroy me. You talking about a watermelon flavor? This ain't got nothing to do with watermelon at all. So they just switched it around and they just made it unhealthy.
And stuff like that. It shows how powerful things like taste are, and also just social situations and social norms. Like, it is a social norm to vape all the time now. So if my friend's doing it, if he's doing it, oh, fuck it, I should do it too. But like, the fact that we'll choose a social norm over our health is insane.
Literally. And I don't get how cigarettes are legal or vape. Like these things cause cancer. These things kill us. How are these things legal? How? But shrooms are illegal for some reason. But a cigarette you can get from the store for $11 is legal. How is this even possible? Why are these things legal? Why is vape legal? Colored air. Why do people even like vape? It's just colored air. It might be cool to smoke and stuff, but it's destroying you. People don't value their health. They value a feeling. They value a temporary feeling, a temporary dopamine rush over their health, over their long-term health. And what we got to realize in this society, everything is short in this society, like short form content, like just getting temporary dopamine rushes and like watching TV for a temporary amount of time to distract us from things. Everything is like temporary in a way, and we don't really do things for long term. Like we don't do things that gonna like help our long term health no more. So we need to tap into the long term thing. Let's go back to patience. We don't know how to be patient. Everything in society is so flighty nowadays. Everybody's minds are so flighty. We scroll with 10-second videos on TikTok for hours on hours, and it just changed the overall structure of our brain and how we perceive the world. It makes us way more impatient now.
And everyone will question, oh, I'm 50, 60 now. All I did in my teenage years and my 20s is drink and get drunk every single night and do all this stuff that's unhealthy for me. Why am I having these health problems now? Like, people genuinely have no idea why they have health problems, and it's like, look back. Maybe there's something in your past, the stuff that you did all the time, that caused that.
Literally goes back to the long term things. I feel like when you in your teens, you should work hard and you should do things for your body, very healthy. So when you in that, so when you like 40, 50, 60 and up, you will be good. You could literally just relax. It's a work now and relax later type of thing. We should have a work now and relax later type of mindset. We do things in a moment so much like to just satisfy us to get that dopamine rush, in the moment. We do these things in a moment, but we never think about how will this affect me in the future. It's like you kind of like saying F your future self. You don't even care about him. I'm just do what I gotta do now. No. Do what you gotta do now and later. Work now. Put in the work now. Do things good for your health now. So in the future, you will be good. In the future, you could just relax and you will have a healthy body. There's plenty of people, there's plenty of 70-year olds who are very in shape and very fit and very healthy and look overly young. That's how I want to be. That's how I will be.
100%. And and it also goes hand in hand with the fear of missing out. Like people in their teenage years and in their 20s are like, oh, I have to drink, I have to party, I have to do all this because everyone else is doing it. I'm going to miss out. And this is actually something I think I either thought about this morning or last night. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm 19 years old. I've never really partied much. I don't think I'm ever going to get into like the phase of doing it all the time. When I'm 60, when I'm 70, am I going to look back and am I going to regret not doing it? And I sat there for a second. I was like, I don't think I will. I don't think I'll regret not doing it.
Nah, like I never like parties either. I never like it's too loud. I get too much anxiety. Like I feel energies and all this stuff. So I never really like parties either. So yeah, but I think we're gonna have to end. My phone about to die.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. This is
Well,
dang. We on here for an hour. Dang,
yes, sir.
that's amazing.
All right. Well, existence. Really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you for having me. This was a good podcast. It was a good conversation we had.
100%. And if we want, we can have one again.
All right.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.